morning. I'm Kapil Kaul. I am the CEO for IIT Kanpur Development Foundation, and in my role, I work very closely with alumni, and our responsibility is also to grow engagement with alumni of IIT Kanpur across the world, and eventually to raise resources for the institute. So we started with this concept of IITKaravan a couple of years back, wherein we take institute to rest of the world all over, connecting with alumni in different cities. So 2022 was our first Caravan when we came to United States. It's again our road show which we've branded as IIT Caravan, and we started off in the first year with 4 cities. Last year we did 3 cities, and this year we're doing 5 cities. We started with in New York, and we had a great gathering of over 150 people in New York. After that we traveled to DC, and in DC we had around 90 people attend the Caravan event. Now we are here in Chicago, the Windy City, and we are glad to be with everyone here, and we're expecting over 100 people in the room. Next, post Chicago, we travel to Seattle, where we will be again meeting our alumni who've been there since a very long time, who joined the likes of Microsoft, and in the last few years, people who've joined Amazon and have been doing exceptionally well in their careers. And after that, we go to the Bay Area, where the largest population of IIT Kanpur alumni exists, I would say, outside of India in one place. So, and we are expecting close to 400 people to attend the event in Bay Area. So, Caravan essentially is, this year's Caravan is very special because we have a new director. Professor Agarwal is just taken over as the new director, and the idea of bringing him to these cities is to interact with alumni and share his vision for the institute with the larger alumni community. So far we've got exceptional response, and we hope to continue getting the same response going forward, and we are going to take Caravan to many other places across the world, talking about the IIT Kanpur stories. Thank you. Thanks.
Yeah, greetings from Chicago IITK Caravan 2024. I'm Ratnesh Kumar. I'm a professor of electrical and computer engineering at Iowa State University here in the Midwest, and a proud alumni of IIT Kanpur, graduating in 1987. And I've been part of this IIT Caravan since the beginning. This is a way to bring the alumni together, and I'm doing my little bit to help alumni come together and raise the awareness and well wishes towards the institute, so we can all work together for the cause of the institute. I was also part of. I also volunteered to be part of the Alumni Association board in 2021 to 2023, where I represented the alumni as the vice president. And here in the Midwest, I work closely with my team here to help organize the events in Chicago area. This is our second version, and the last one was in 2022. We are excited to meet our new director and all the other alumni. We're expecting more than 100 people here from all walks of life, all brilliant minds, and getting them together is our goal. So 3 cheers for everybody who has come, and look forward to have a great networking session together. Thank you.
Hello everyone, this is Nitin Maheshwari I'm IIT Kanpur 97 batch, and welcome everybody to this event. I lead the IIT Kanpur chapter and have been involved with IIT Kanpur since the start of this. In 2004, we made this chapter under the Dr. S.G. Dande, and I'm very happy to see everybody come here. We had an event last year as well, and this event is all about bringing everybody together, giving back to the community, and keeping the IITK ka tempo high. That's the most important thing. And as AI and everything else is happening, it's more important for the whole community to get together, help each other. There are people who are out of roles. There are people who need help. There are people who want to give back to their own community. This is a great platform. On behalf of the Chicago community and alumni, I welcome you all to this event.
Hello, my name is Arth Banka. I am from the class of 2024, and today I am at the IITK Caravan event in Chicago. IITK means a lot to me because not just because it's my alma mater, but because I've met the best people I've known in my life here. It's a place that has always gone beyond and exceeded my expectations. And right now, it has helped me shape my future goals and ambitions as well. Right now, I'm in the US because I want to pursue interesting computational challenges in healthcare. I want to potentially affect the world in a positive way, by impacting healthcare and maybe contributing to curing diseases such as cancer. And IITK has played a very important part in shaping this ambition, this goal, connecting me to my various employers, to researchers, and that's why I'm here right now. Just meeting and seeing all those familiar faces and people who graduated from my alma mater, just seeing how they are, what they are doing, and trying to look for future inspiration. Thank you.
I'm Kirtana Amaran. I graduated in 2023 from the physics department at IIT Kanpur. And I'm currently a research assistant at Northwestern University. So initially when I started out at IITK, I didn't really have an idea of what I wanted to do, except that I really wanted to understand the universe as a whole, and that motivated me to go into the physics department. But when I eventually started doing research in physics, I realized that this was a bit too much, and I wanted to kind of switch fields into more biology, because that's where I think I could make the maximum impact. And IITK was such a place that where I could make this transition without really changing departments, but kind of really expanding my horizon with the interdisciplinary research was going on at that point. And I got really great mentors who kind of helped me figure out what exactly are the questions I wanted to answer, and also what are the next steps I should do to kind of go along this path. IITK was also a fondest memory, especially because of all the people I met there, both within the students and also faculty, and the great conversations, especially during midnight, but overall it was great. And I think currently my research is kind of motivated by what I learned at IITK, both in terms of the ethic of doing research and also the overall work. And I think it was a great experience and something I want to carry with me forever.
I just graduated from IITK in 2024, and I'm here at Carnegie Mellon to do my master's in mechanical engineering and robotics. So IITK has been a really wonderful experience. Though we started in COVID, the last 2 years were on campus, and we met professors who turned into family. I've known their families, been with them, 2 friends who I've spent my entire lives and still connected with. IITK gives me the opportunity to elevate myself to a global perspective, and I got to learn so many different things at IITK. I was involved in the Institute Counseling Service, which really broadened my perspective on people and where they come from. And I'm here in the US to enhance my technological capabilities and see where life takes me. And I'm really interested about getting to know people, connecting with them. And IITK has really done its job, and really one of the places which reminds me, and I call it my home. Thank you.
Hello, I'm Ayush Bansal. I am a 2020 graduate of IIT Kanpur from Computer Science Department. And like IITK has really helped me a lot in figuring out my future goals, and it was a really great journey figuring out how I got started into the academic world and as well as the startup world. Actually, it helped me both in getting contacts, and IITK alumni network is something which I feel is one of the best in the world, and I have been able to find people who were so helpful, not just in India but everywhere I went. And like, it is not just because it's my alma mater, but it's all because of all the experiences and learning I gained that I would I really cherish my experience at IIT Kanpur, and I would definitely love to contribute to it as in any way I can.
Hello everyone, my name is Garima Bawa. I did my Masters and PhD from IIT Kanpur and I'm currently working as a postdoctoral research associate at Washington University. I work in the biomedical engineering department. My work is majorly towards dopamine sensing. We use optical fiber based sensors to make to do in vivo dopamine sensing, and that is what I'm passionate about. I would like to develop sensors and actually improve the healthcare towards brain imaging, brain sensing, so that we can better understand diseases like Parkinson's and Alzheimer's. And I am totally indebted towards IIT Kanpur for providing me a platform to grow up in this field and reach here and have a vision that I can actually achieve this in my life. Thank you.
Hello, I'm Pratyush from the Y20 batch, and right now I'm at Carnegie Mellon doing my Masters in Computer Science. IITK was the place that really taught me how to do things. So when I first came, I was somebody who'd just been nerding out all over the place, and IIT Kanpur gave me the place where I could really nerd out properly. So it was team aerial robotics which played a huge part for me in getting to know this field, and I was interested with robotics a bit. And IITK and the team aerial robotics, IITK, gave me the place where I could really pursue it. And over the course of the years, it really refined that interest into a more focused thing that finally got me into Carnegie Mellon, and here I'm really looking to go for it properly, get into it, and hopefully do something big.
Hello, my name is Satyanshu Kumar. I was in the Y11 batch of IIT Kanpur. I did my BTech in Material Science and Engineering back there. Since then, I have came back to US and I've been doing my PhD in Quantitative Economics and Econometrics. I've worked mostly with US housing data models using machine learning and deep learning models. And in the future, I want to take this tech back to India, and mostly looking forward to this event to meet more people who are aligned to work in the same area and can help me in the future.
Hello, I am Ameya Karkare. I am a professor in the Department of Computer Science and Engineering and currently the Dean of Resources and Alumni. The idea of Karva is to bring people from IIT Kanpur, including our esteemed director, to connect with the alumni here, tell them about the vision of the institute, how we are going to progress in next few years, and get alumni to help institute grow. We are visiting 5 different cities on this trip, and this will be our third Karva in Chicago, and we are seeing a good turnout. So I am very happy, and I hope this Karva will continue over the years and will help alumni connect with the institute much more. Thank you.
So I wanted to introduce our keynote speaker, which is Honorable Consulate General Somnath Ghosh. He's a career diplomat, and he has worked in Moscow, Brussels, in Tajikistan, Mongolia. He can actually speak Russian, if you want to believe that, which is a hard language to learn. So, but that is very impressive that he was able to do that. He does live in Chicago, and his wife is as accomplished. He's a PhD in economics. So just he's an alumni from IIT, and he did his MSc there, and then has moved into the civil services for many years now. So please welcome him. Maybe he can talk about how we can be part of the alumni and contribute back to the institute. So.
Namaskar. Happy Dasera and Shubh Vijayadashmi. Thank all of you who have come from outside Chicago, flying here. I am standing here with some hesitation. I have never been a front-ranking, outstanding student in IIT Kanpur, neither I am a distinguished alumnus. So this I am taking as a rare and really rare opportunity and privilege. Thank all of you, I am overwhelmed. I was asked to give this keynote speech. Now, a keynote speech is supposed to be a visionary document with, outlining what we should do and what is ahead, what, etc., etc. I don't think I'm worthy of that, so I thought instead of keynote speech, I should talk about, possibly off the record, heart to heart, how I have seen IIT Kanpur and its great alumni from the vantage point of a government position, and mostly outside India, inside and outside India. Possibly some of the things that may interest you. At any rate, the IIT Kanpur alumni, at least by Indian standard, is envy of any institute in India. We have produced in India and outside great industrialists, great academicians, researchers. Today we even claim a Indian cabinet position, and that to a star performer from IIT Kanpur. There are many less worthies like me who give their entire career in the civil services, public services. Possibly not too much an aggrandizement in terms of finances or name or fame, but nevertheless it's fulfilling. And there are people who has done none of these, and they have joined NGO, they have started something new, and they are also contributing to the country. So we should be proud of our institution, but at the same time, every minute we should think about what the institution and the country have given us and what we can do better. We have done a lot, very good, but not enough. That's what is my submission today. When I was studying in IIT Kanpur, I joined their integrated MSc. I came from a rural background where this Brilliant and Agarwal were not available. Whatever it was, I wanted to study physics. The rank was not as good, but I studied chemistry. I don't regret it. And out of our small batch, those days used to be smaller batch, out of 13, except 2, all came to United States, and they all are doing well. Some of us are also, in our own way, we are still batting and kicking. We are well. I remember reading in those days, there used to be a magazine called Span magazine. While coming here, I looked up, it's still there. It's a publication by US Embassy in India. So there was an article, I still remember, they ranked the undergraduate course all over the world in those days. I'm talking of late 80s. And they ranked IIT Kanpur and Caltech are the toughest and most rigorous undergraduate course in the world. So we were there, we passed through that. We should all be very, very, proud of that. And I'm saying that there are many people who have done well. But having said that, is it easy to maintain that? It's not. Director sir is here, and it's not something that we are criticizing. We are having a discussion how to do it better. I'll come to that. Think of us. I was there. My father used to send substantial amount, very substantial amount of his monthly income as an employee of a regional rural bank, and it was added in those days by almost 400 rupee. Consequently, for 5 years I not only studied there, I had reasonably good standard of living, used to go to Kanpur, used to visit restaurant in the central shopping complex. I think we used to go shopping center, isn't it? Yeah. Shopping center. We used to go to MT, and in the shopping center, every week I used to have a good dinner. Today, think it in perspective. Do you have any idea how many Indian students are there in US universities and colleges? In the last count, when I looked up, there is something called SEVIS. It's 355,000. 3,55,000. It's more now. Students are coming. My guess is that by the end of this year, it will be almost touching 4 lakh. Do you have any idea how much they spend in United States every year? Not less than $15 billion. Not less than $15 billion, which is more than, possibly more, I haven't looked at the last year's budget, more than India's budget for higher education. With that sort of money, it's certainly more than all 27 IITs. Today it is 27 if you don't count, if you lost count. Then it used to be 5, today it is 25. 27? Am I right, Director? Sir? 23. 23. It's more than all the budgets put together of not only all the IITs, the entire budget of the higher education budget of the country. It is equivalent. With that sort of money we can run Harvard, Yale, and still we are left with to run a smaller organization like Chicago University. That sort of money we are paying. Why? Because we could not repeat IITs of the standard of IIT Kanpur in India. We could not keep up with the huge demand, which is legitimate demand of our people and of our youth. So I think we should think about what we can do as individual, as member of our proud institution, IIT Kanpur, and as diaspora. I consider myself an honorary member of the diaspora, of which all of you are very proud, very distinguished members. It is not only the number, for many years now, India produced almost one college every day. But yes, that's a good thing. That shows a lot on the fact that our priorities are correct. But is it enough? It's not. The result is showing. Where is the quality? And where do we get it? Those of us who are here, even we from here, can contribute to this. I'll come to that. And in that, I must say that a number of IIT Kanpur, alumni, they are doing well. Many of them left corporate world, joined academic and research. I know from my batches, my own batch. I know, for example, Sulini. Have you heard of Sulini University? It's doing quite well. The promoter, the main, people around behind it is somebody from IIT Kanpur. There are many more such examples in India. As an institution, other than of course the very important function of raising funds, I was looking at the figures. Believe me, I know at least one member of US House of Representative around who has more in his fund than IIT Kanpur has raised. One single member. So there is a lot more that we should do. Those of us who can afford to donate, whatever you can donate from here. But other than that function of raising funds, which is very important for any academic institution today, we should think about joint courses. We should think about credit sharing arrangements with top US universities. Since I am working here in a capacity as representative of Government of India, I get to see a lot of other IITs how they are active. It is not criticizing. I don't know much about the Kanpur activity, maybe elsewhere, but here I can see the IIT Bombay and IIT Chennai, critical technologies. on which the two governments have agreed. There is a lot, and you name any emerging technology, there is a plan, a roadmap to work together. And some of our institutions in India and universities in India have caught on that, latched on that immediately last year when it was announced. We should not miss the bus. Wherever possible, wherever is our strength, we should latch on and should work together, because there will be resources, there will be political focus, and there will be opportunities. India, don't make any mistake. India and USA, the partnership between these two countries is already, and it will continue to be at least till 2070, 2075, most critical and important partnership in this world. It is not one-sided, it's no more, it is just like, it is a requirement from Indian side, it is a requirement from here too, for a variety of reasons. If not anything else, more than 40% of our immigration here in technology, in science, are from India. And the top creamy part of that is from IITs, including IIT Kanpur. But that's only one reason. If this country wants to stay at the top of the curve in emerging technology, in AI, in quantum computing, in biological research, emerging biological research, if this country needs adequate people in their institutions, universities, hospitals, research centers, a handshake with India is inevitable. And from here on, it will be a two-way process. We'll work together, and this is only the technological part. If you look at defense, if you look at geopolitical realities, if you look at the simple fact that we are the two largest democracies in the world, the future is very, very clear where we are standing. And as an institution, IIT Kanpur must make best out of this window of opportunity in the next 2 decades or so. I can keep on, adding, but the most important as an individual for each of you, I was looking at the Dean resources were talking about, and also others. I think the amount of resources the country has spent on us, each of us. Today, to get that sort of education, we need to spend, at least in this country, more than 100,000 every year. I see many people. And still, believe me, I get to see closely many of the top universities in my region of responsibility. We look after 7 states, large states, as our area of jurisdiction. Even the best of the universities, I have gone through their course structure, how they, out of own interest, how they teach. They still can't match what I have seen in IIT Kanpur. Maybe, certain opportunities as to work in the summer, some, research facilities which we were not there yet. I don't know now. But other than that, within the classroom and even outside, the intellectual environment that we had, the rigor in the courses that we had, and how we were taught, and we got it practically free of cost. In my case, I got even some scholarship. So it is not giving back, it is paying back. I think it should be, written as such in all our appeals. It's payback, it's not give back, it's not something that you give out of your wish, you owe it. Each of us owe it. So, whatever manner, not everybody will be giving in millions or hundreds of thousands of dollars, but whatever you can, and those of you who can, it should go beyond that. Start small startup whatever way with in collaboration with IIT Kanpur. I'm sure there will be an incubator center. Use that. Wherever you can, try to get one of the student from there, or student who is an alumni from there, to help even with a job if it is possible. Legally it is possible. There's summer work, some of the students who have IIT Kanpur connections. You can do that. The country, India is going to grow 7 to 8% in the next 3 decades. Nobody can stop it. It's irrespective of whichever government comes and go. We will be third largest economy by 2030. And we will continue to grow large. And technology will be one of the most important part of that narrative. And in that, we have to work together. I wish all the success to my alma mater. Again, in that, raising fund is very important. Government cannot continue giving funds. Even in this country, they don't. If you try to match, of course, the government resources that come to universities is still large, but not far from what they need. They get their resources, they garner their resources from private sources, from donations. Government has stepped out of that largely, and this will be a reality in India too. So we have to come forward and contribute financially, contribute intellectually, and join our stakes in India and in IIT Kanpur by whatever means we can do. Many of you have achieved everything that you had to achieve in life. So I think this is for you, this is a time to give, not give back, to pay back again. And those who are younger, have your foot in both countries, one foot here, another there. I think that would be the best bet for the coming 3 decades. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Ambassador Ghosh. That was very kind for him to make the time and come and talk to us and give us his opinion. Actually, building on what he was talking about, there are a lot of alumni who are now teaching at various universities. I really don't know all of them, but if they could stand up, who are teaching and faculty here. So I think there are about 8 or 9 of them. We only see 3 or 4, 5. So we have a few. So the request is to see if there is any opportunity to collaborate in credit swaps with IIT Kanpur, so you can develop programs along with the other institutes at your institute if possible. I'm not sure who would be the right contact from IIT to be able to work with you on that. But hopefully, okay, perfect. So Bushra will be the contact person, so you can contact her and see if there is an opportunity to work together. But I know that there are a lot of institutes which are trying, even who are not IITs. My wife teaches at the University of Chicago, and she has been contacted by a variety of smaller institutes in India to see if there is opportunity to work together. So there are other people trying to do the same thing, and I think it'll help a lot of our younger alumni to be able to then get credits appropriately with the US universities and get those experiences. Once again, I'll build on some of our older alumni who have graciously offered to work with the younger alumni to help with their career paths. So please do connect with them. I'm going to now invite our director, Professor Manindra Agarwal. He is a power in himself for all the people who love math. He got the Infosys Prize, the Godel Prize, the Shanti Swarup Bhatnagar in math sciences. He's a Padam Shri, as we already acknowledged. So he's a power in himself, and he's now driving IIT Kanpur forward. So he'll share some of what is happening out there. So please. I have got this. Okay.
Okay, so we all know about IIT Kanpur. It's in the interest of time, I'm going to skip over this. This is for those of you who are not kept up to date, this is IITK in numbers, about 600 faculty, 9,000 students, about 43,000 alumni. We have been doing fairly well by multiple metrics. And some examples of that is, you see some of our departments who are consistently ranked amongst the top departments in the world. So I would say we have been doing well, but doing well is, in my view, not sufficient. We need to do better. And we have a issue of perception. What is the perception about the institute today? It is that we used to be head and shoulders above other institutions in the past, 60s onwards up to early this century. But over the last 20-25 years, things have changed. We are no longer the force we were. There are other institutions who are moved ahead. And this has caused a lot of heartburn amongst the various well-wishers of the institute. And there are concerns about the research output, the teaching that is happening at the institute today. Part of it is, as I said, perception may not be correct, but part of it is hard truth. We cannot escape from that. We can, I see here, in this one of the things we've been advertising is, of course, it's always good to advertise, but number one in innovation in the country. But this year the ranking, the second installment of ranking has come where we have come to number 5, which I believe is the right location of us. That number 1 was kind of an accident. It was the first year of that ranking methodology, so many institutions did not do it well, and so we did. So there is definitely, we are no longer, I would say, the top institution in the country. So we can either accept this fact and live with it, or we can do something about it, and that's what I propose to. Let's do something about this. Okay, am I standing in the way this side? I should come here. This should be better. Yeah, I'm going to fall off. Okay. I'll try to stand here, not move. So I have had discussions about this issue, not just since taking over as director. I have been thinking about it, discussing about it for quite some time. And as director, I have the opportunity to make a difference, and therefore I have come up with a strategy for us to follow. And that strategy, okay, before I go to that, let's just give it couple of minutes on this thought that what are the challenges we face as an institution? There are this issue about the research, the issues about the teaching, yes. There is clearly other institutions have done, but especially if you look at the research side of it, other institutions have done better, and I'll show you concretely through some data later on. We also have, because of the perception about the institute, getting good faculty, getting good students becomes a challenge. Even raising resources becomes a challenge, because if the perception is about institute is, oh, they are doing not so well, then the donors or those who want to give fund feel a little hesitant. Now, perception is also driven by our location. We are in Kanpur. We have always been in Kanpur, of course. But there was a time when Kanpur as a city was never amongst the best cities of the country, but it was still okay. The gap between Kanpur as a city and metros has grown over time. In addition to that, when we are no longer considered by far the best, then it influences the choices of a lot of people about which institution to go to. Added to this is a factor that when faculty decides to come or is looking for an institution to join, there is an issue of employment of spouses. Spouses, these are professionals, and again Kanpur tends to do not so well in that dimension. So, we need a strategy which can address major pain points for the institute, and the idea of focusing on translation research is one such. Now, translation research is basically taking the technologies which are developed in the lab, making an effort and deploy them, bring it to the stage of deployment at least. If we manage to do this well, firstly we are capable of doing it. We have excellent intellectual horsepower on campus, both among faculty and students. So it's a matter of putting focus and effort towards this side. And if we do that well, the perception can change dramatically, because once the society is benefiting substantially from the work being done at the institute, there is a widespread sense that, okay, this institution is great, which is what many institutions in the US have done. I mean, today, for example, MIT is known all over for the wonderful technologies, or Stanford. They are technologies that have come out of these institutions and impacted the lives of people. Funding is again will be, okay, again I am coming in the way, so I don't know what to do about this. Okay. Okay, now I cannot see, but that's fine. So funding is another issue that we can easily address this, because if, again, your technology goes out in the world and is used by a lot of people, they will be willing to pay for it, and then that could be a significant source of revenue. Now, the most interesting thing is location. If you are developing technologies which is benefiting the society, obviously I am talking about the Indian society here primarily, then the first step on deploying a technology is to try out in the location where a representative population is living. And for us in Kanpur, that lab is right outside the gate. We don't have to travel anywhere, unlike metro cities where they have to probably drive 100 kilometers before they can reach a representative population sample. We don't. We step out of the gate, go in any direction, and you are there. So that's a great advantage. because then this feedback loop can move very fast. And the timing is also appropriate for this. Because if you look at the region, we are in the state of UP, the state has a lot of basic things like infrastructure, law and order now well sorted. It is making a big push for industrialization, which is bound to be led, if it has to succeed, bound to be led by technology. And there, IIT Kanpur being the preeminent institutions in the state, we are head and shoulder above everybody else in the state. The government is very naturally looking towards us, and we can play a very key role. And again, I come back to the point that if we develop technologies and bring it out, which also help bring industry into the state, it can be a great win-win, and the state government will also be willing to substantially support these efforts. Of course, it's easier said than done, that is translation research, because it requires significant effort. It also requires a very solid base of traditional R&D, because unless you have the right set of facilities, the right set of work going on, things must first come in the lab, get developed in the lab, only then it can move out. So that's also extremely critical for making this happen. And finally, I come to the teaching part, which is, again, we have lost the edge over time for various reasons. One is that faculty these days is more focused towards research than teaching. The other is that student body has also changed with time. Their expectations, what works for them, what doesn't work for them has also changed. So we also need to evolve with time. Okay, so let me just spend a little bit of time on each one of these three components that I just referred to. It's not that we are starting from zero at translation research. There is already some very interesting work happening in the campus. One is in cyber security. We have a group which is developing solutions in cyber security and deploying them, and their deployments are on all Indian ports, National Highway Authority. It's going to happen in Bhilai steel plant. So a whole bunch of actual deployments are happening. Then there is a Center for Developing Intelligent System, which is focusing on using AI to solve problems of society. So its focus is not to just take the AI as it is. It's a tool, uses as a tool, apply it and solve it. Again, it has some major successes to its credit. One is an intelligence a grievance management system, which is today running at the Prime Minister's office, Ministry of Defense, and several other ministries. And what it does is collects all the grievances that are uploaded there in a day, analyzes them, and these grievances comes in all shapes and sizes, different languages, video, audio, written, handwritten, and you name it is there. So it analyzes all of them, understands that, summarizes them to actionable points. And we are also working, the center is working with the National Health Authority to detect the frauds being done in the PM Ayushman Yojana, and it's resulting in significant savings for the authority. We also have a major drone program, and that's very natural given that we are the only institution with a flight lab and airstrip. And there are groups working on campus whose solutions, again, they are designing drones from grounds up, from the clean sheet of paper, design, manufacturing, everything is being done on campus, and some of their work is now going to get deployed by the armed forces. There is, of course, a medtech ecosystem that is coming up fast on campus, which one major component of is the upcoming med school, the super specialty hospital inclusive. And we are focusing on leveraging that to and bringing the medicine and engineering side together to develop new techniques for therapeutics, new devices, and so on. So, in order to consolidate all this effort and expand this, what I am proposing to do is to set up an office for translation research directly under me in the directorate, which will help our faculty make this journey from the technology in the lab to technology on the ground. It requires substantial investment. It requires bringing in professionals who can take care of the challenges which faculty and students are not trained to. And there are a number of such challenges which happen, interacting with the user, understanding their language, understanding their requirement, getting the technology tweaked to those, and so on. Once we have this office, that is which reaches in terms of technology readiness level, it's a journey from TRL 3 to 7. We already have major elements. After this on campus, we have a significant incubation center which is hosting a number of startups. We also have a techno park on campus, which is a space exclusively meant for industries to come in, set up their R&D labs and work with the faculty and students on campus. So this is a new idea. It's somewhat radical for the faculty because they are happier doing or working in their labs. So it was, and without support of faculty, this idea is going to be a non-starter. So I presented this to the faculty and did a survey. These are the results of those who responded, which is 60% of the total faculty. 2/3 said it's a great idea and they would like to be a part of this. Remaining, about a quarter say it's a good idea, but they won't. They are happy doing what they are, and there are some naysayers as well. But this survey gives me the confidence that faculty is behind this idea, and if we move forward, they are going to play a very, very critical role in making this a success. Now we come to the traditional R&D, which is the base on which we build. Now here comes a data point which is not so pleasant for us. This is the plot of number of publications per faculty over the past decade for 5 old IITs. If you see the 2014 data, we are indistinguishable essentially from other IITs. And if you see 2020, that quality metric, maybe citations per faculty and other metrics is used, we are still number 5. So there is definitely an issue. And one of the major reasons, not the intellectual horsepower, it's a major reason for this, is not so good research infrastructure on campus today. Oh, this is number of publications per faculty. Oh, the number is starting from 3, 4 and going up. The range is between 4 to 7. Highest is this. This is IIT Delhi, close to 7. This is IIT Madras, IIT Bombay, IIT Kharagpur, IIT Kanpur. So we are close to 4. The highest is IIT Delhi, which is close to 7. And we are kind of flat over the last 10 years. The others have really made a progress. Okay, that analysis can be done, although I have not done it. We can dig deeper into this. But each IIT will have strengths in certain domains. So if you go area-wise, things could look very different. But this is the overall, yeah. This is mostly international publication. Nationals are hardly any. Okay, so in order to achieve excellence in R&D, we have, of course, we need many things to fall in place. High quality faculty, excellent facilities. Another very important thing is joining hands by faculty and bringing large R&D grants. This is something we have traditionally not done well. Only in last few years that things have started looking up. High quality students, and not to forget the quality versus quantity balance. And finally, teaching. Here what I propose to do in order for, because the teaching methodology itself is undergoing tremendous changes in the past few years, to set up a center for excellence in teaching, where the experienced faculty who are still great teachers, they can engage students from day one till the end of the semester to share their knowledge with the younger faculty. Also, the center would have people full-time employed who are continuously thinking about and working on the new pedagogy of teaching and working out, not just work inside, of course, first step would be the work inside, then take these things outside and train others as well. Okay, so the same survey asked about the teaching part as well, that what do our faculty feel about that? And as you can see, 3/4 said it's a good idea and they are going to benefit from this. That's again a very positive sign. About 12% said it's a good idea, but they are already very good, so they won't benefit from it. And of course, there is a small percent that say this is an insulting idea. Okay? Now, but if we do focus on, say, teaching, there will be some faculty who say, oh, I just want to teach. There will be faculty who say, okay, I want to focus on translation research, naturally. But both of these will run into a major issue of career progression for our faculty, because today the way career progression gets evaluated is look at the publications, how well you have published, how many students you have graduated, how much funding have you got. So in order to address this, I propose to set up 3 tracks of career progression: traditional R&D, translation R&D, and teaching. And each faculty has to excel in one of the 3. The rest you can forget. You pick one where you want to excel and just do very well there. And your career progression is guaranteed. So this was perhaps the most controversial proposal to the faculty, and so the survey results also reflect this, but not in a bad way. About more than half say it's a very good idea. Let's go for it. About 40% say seems like a good idea, but needs to be done very carefully. You should not create imbalances in the system, which makes it worse. So, but still, if you're more than 90%, if you add these two together, think that this idea must be explored, taken forward. So what I've done is I've created 3 committees to define the 3 tracks. They have submitted their report, which has gone to all departments for their comments. Once I go back, we'll collate the comments and revise it, and hopefully we can go forward with this. Okay, now I think I have already eaten up 15 minutes of time, so I'll go very fast. Mostly Indian faculty. I mean, there will be a smattering of foreign faculty, but not much. And this is true all over. I mean, it's not much. The foreign faculty that are there mostly are Indians with a foreign passport. Okay, we have a infra problem. We have 9,000 students and 7,500 beds. So we are putting up 3 beds in a room meant for 2, 2 beds in a room meant for 1, and it's unpleasant. Again, because of the large student population, we need much more in, recreational facilities, playgrounds, and other things. Student activity center needs a huge expansion. The library actually, again, need to cater for the new. You don't need to keep books now in the library, too many of them. You need to create spaces for students to sit and interact. So similarly, a lot of things that need to be done. So finally, I come to the alumni, where this journey that I am proposing to start on will require support from all stakeholders. I got more or less faculty support. I am here to seek alumni support. How can you support this? Well, provide the feedback. The presentation I am giving today is different from the presentation I gave 2 months ago to alumni, because this feedback has allowed me to improve the ideas. Translation R&D is something we are just now dabbling with, and so we need, there are a lot of people, a lot of you are in the industry, you understand this space better than we do, so help in that. Engagement with students, I already talked about. And finally, give back, or as Counselor says, pay back. My target is to raise $600 million over the next 3 years for everything that I need to do. And if I want to show the breakup of this, and I'm using, being from computer science, I'll use computer science terminology here. The hardware, which is the infrastructure, buildings, labs, and so on, is about 265 million. The middleware, which is the activity that, or the facility that use that hardware, the Office of Translation Research, the incubation center, the Center of Teaching, and a whole bunch of things. So they are built on top of the hardware. That requires about 220 million. And finally, on top sits the applications. This is where the major research, translation research activity is going to take place, which I am focusing currently on 5. AI applications, drones, medtech, cybersecurity, these 4 I have already mentioned about, and quantum. This is quantum technology is again something that is coming up fast, and it can have very far-reaching impact in the way we do things. So that is also something. We have some excellent groups who are getting good support from the National Quantum Mission, so I want to invest in that as well. And that's about 115 million. So 600 million for 3 years. How do we raise it? 40% of this I will raise from within the institute or from the government. Generally, government these days says don't ask for any capital money, infrastructure, I will not give you anything. But one way or the other, I'll squeeze money out of the government and elsewhere. 10%, our foundation CEO Kapil promises that he can raise from CSR and other industries. That is not alumni. And for every dollar that is raised in this way, I want $1 from the alumni. 50% of this I would like to raise from the alumni. Of the 600 million, we have already done. It's not that we started from when I took over, it's just that things have been moving along. I'm just taking it further. 10% has already been raised. So the target is 90% of the 600 million over the next 3 years. And that's where I need, one of the things I need support of all of you for. Thank you.
No, thanks again. I know we are running behind by 10 minutes or so, 15 minutes. But I know there are also people who want to take some pictures and so on, so we would like to continue on that. But to just build on Professor Manindra Agarwal's talk, we are actually collaborating with a project in South Africa, funded by PCORI, which is part of NIH in the US, with Brigham as the investigator. So what I'm trying to explain is that there are a lot of opportunities where US money is being deployed in other countries for research purposes, which could be an opportunity. The second thing was the IIT Consulting Club. And one of the things that I wanted to build up was my son had gone to Boston for undergrad and he was part of the consulting club. And if you would be surprised, but that consulting club in Boston has its own budget of $4 million that they generate through revenues for themselves. So one of the things I was trying to work with IIT Kanpur Consulting Club was to make it a standalone organization which can actually contribute funds to the institute through their consulting activities, which I think a lot of our colleagues here would be willing to work with them on. And that could be $12 million in 3 years. So it's a significant amount of money that could be used or to help these kids grow themselves, but also find opportunities later, but also then fundraise. So we'll continue this dialogue offline, of course, and we'll continue to look for ideas from you guys. I know Ambassador Ghosh has to leave, but I know some people want to take some pictures. And we have a quick, Professor Braj Bhushan is going to do a thanks to everybody. So if you could, yeah. And at the end of that, we will do a quick break for pictures. Yeah. So if we could hold off for that before we start eating, because I know everybody is probably going to the bathroom and getting hungry. So, but yeah.
Well, I take this opportunity to sincerely thank all of you, all our alumni, donors, and well-wishers who have over the years provided their invaluable support, generosity, and dedication towards the institute, which has helped us to establish new milestones. An event of such repute is only possible with the support of a truly motivated and dedicated team of our beloved alumni, who, in coordination with officials from IIT Kanpur, have made this afternoon a success. I extend hearty thanks to our keynote speaker, Mr. Somnath Ghosh, Consul General, for his time and participation to make this event a truly memorable one. I thank our Director IIT Kanpur, Professor Manindra Agarwal, for sharing his thoughts and vision for IIT Kanpur. Professor Vinod Singh, Institute Chair Professor of the Department of Chemistry, Professor Bushra Atik, Dean of International Relations, Professor Amay Karkare, Dean of Resource and Alumni, Mr. Kapil Kaul, CEO IIT Kanpur Development Foundation, and Mr. Rajat Sharma, VP Development, IIT Kanpur Development Foundation, for gracious presence and making this event memorable with their presence. My sincere gratitude goes to all the alumni and well-wishers for their rock-solid support system and encouragement. Also a special recognition to Mr. Nitin Maheshwari, Mr. Rajiv Gautam, Mr. Sanjeev Madela, Mr. Sukhwant Kanoja, and Professor Ratnesh Kumar, whose tireless dedication and meticulous effort have ensured the flawless execution of this event. I also thank the Office of Resources and Alumni at IIT Kanpur Development Foundation for their great and hard work. We are highly optimistic that this is just the tip of the iceberg, and we look forward to hosting more such engaging and fruitful gatherings in the years to come. We always cherish the bond that we share with our beloved alumni. You always have and will continue to be the pillar of support for IIT Kanpur. Thank you and have a wonderful day.
Now I'll request the IITK delegation to come on the stage for a group picture. And Somnathji, please join us as well. And all the volunteers that have been involved with this thing, please come over.
IITK का टेम्पो हाई है, IITK टेम्पो हाई है, IITK का टेम्पो हाई है।